right, buckle up because we are diving deep today. Genesis chapter 17.
Yeah.
Get ready for some serious symbolism.
We're going way beyond just surface level on this one, uncovering how a story from, 4,000 years ago still matters today. It's about faith, about God, about how these agreements, these covenants with humanity actually work.
We're looking at My Christian Space, their take on Abraham. Let me tell you, this is not your typical Sunday school lesson.
Not even close. Genesis 17, man, it's packed. God appears to Abram, who just happens to be 99 years old, and promises him descendants like more than you can count, like the stars.
Okay, wait, hold up. 99 years old? Can you imagine getting that news at 99? Talk about a plot twist.
Right. It's pretty wild. And to really make this promise stick, God, he goes and changes Abram's name to Abraham, father of many.
Like, bam, new name tag, deal sealed. But it's bigger than that, right? This is where we get into, like, official covenant territory.
Absolutely. Covenant biblical style, it's not just like a handshake. It's serious. This promise, God and humanity, and the sign of the specific covenant with Abraham, circumcision.
Whoa, 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 hold on. You can't just drop circumcision and move on like everyone's on the same page.
No.
What's the significance for those of us who need a little refresher?
You're totally right. We don't want to skip over that. So back then, circumcision, it wasn't just a physical thing. It meant you were dedicated, part of something, marked as belonging to this covenant. In this case, this specific group set apart for what God had planned.
So it's like a physical thing pointing to something way deeper. Spiritual.
Exactly. And My Christian Space takes it even further. They're saying this points to the circumcision of the heart, in the New Testament, this idea of interchange, way more than skin deep.
I love how they connect that, the big pictures, not just some old ritual, right? There's this spiritual truth underneath. But we can't forget about the name God uses here, El Shaddai. Now, that's just powerful.
No kidding. Often gets translated God Almighty, but some people think it's more like the God who is enough. And when you think about what Abram's going through, whoa, it hits different.
And here's where it gets really interesting. You've got this 99-year-old guy told he's going to be a dad, have more kids than he can count. Like, I think I'd be asking for a recount.
I know, right? But in the middle of all that, God's like, yo, I'm El Shaddai. Like, I'm all you need for this to happen. You might doubt, but I am enough.
Oh, man. That changes everything. It's not just God showing off. It's reassuring Abraham. Even when it seems impossible, God will provide. He asks enough.
100%. And it gets me? Abraham laughs. Can you imagine?
Oh, totally. Be like, good one, God. Real funny. Sometimes you see God's power and it's just hard to wrap your head around.
And that's what's so great about it. He's not being disrespectful. It's a totally human response. Like, whoa, God, you're on a whole other level.
It makes you think about when we question God, even his good plans. Do we really trust that El Shaddai, that he is enough? But wait, we haven't even touched those name changes. And Sarah, her name changes too, right?
You're right. We got to unpack those next.
Because I'm dying to know more about that. And you know what else is fascinating? This whole Ishmael thing. He's part of this too.
Oh, he absolutely is. And his story has these crazy echoes throughout history. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Name changes first. Then we'll tackle the wild ride that is Ishmael and how he fits into everything.
Okay, so Abraham's got his new name. But God wasn't done, was he? What about Sarah? Hers gets changed too, right?
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really interesting. See, names. Back then, they weren't just like what you called someone. They meant something. Destiny almost, baked right in.
So to change a name, back then, huge deal.
Huge E. Like your whole identity shifts. You're adopted into a new family practically. And here, it's being brought into this covenant with God.
And Sarah's name before was?
Sarai.
Yeah.
God changes it to Sarah, meaning like princess. Noblewoman even.
Okay, I bet that was good for her self-esteem. It's more than a title, right?
Way more. Don't forget, Sarai was also getting up there in years and no kids. So this name change, it's prophetic. God announcing, things are changing. You're going to be a mother.
Talk about a power move.
Yeah.
God's like rewriting their destinies in real time. Makes you think, though, about the names W.E. carry, the labels we believe about ourselves.
Yeah.
What if we could see ourselves how God does?
Right. Powerful. And this whole new name thing doesn't stop with them. My Christian Space even connects this to Revelation. Believers getting new names, secret, only they and God know them.
Oh, I love that. Like a private connection to God. Okay, but we can't avoid the Ishmael question forever. You said his story is a big deal, so hit me.
Ishmael.
Ah.
Right. So he's Abraham's son, but through Hagar, Sarah's maidservant.
Quick recap in case anyone forgot. Sarah's impatient. God's promise is taking its sweet time, so she tells Abraham, hey, have a kid with Hagar. Gets a little messy, to put it mildly.
It does, but here's the thing. Even though Isaac, the son born to Sarah, he's the covenant kid, the heir, God doesn't just forget Ishmael, blesses him, even promises he'll be the father of a great nation too.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just family drama way back when.
Yeah.
This connects to, like, world religions today.
And 100%. Lots of Muslims, they trace their lineage back to Ishmael. He's a patriarch in their faith.
Whoa, so Genesis, it's not just a dusty old book.
That's
This stuff echoes through history, shaping faiths and cultures even now.
Exactly. It reminds us these stories, they're woven into everything, connecting us across, like, time and cultures. It's wild when you think about it.
Mind-blowing is right. Okay, so we've done name changes, the covenant itself, Ishmael's place in it, but that whole circumcision of the heart thing, it feels so relevant with all this. What's that actually look like today?
The million-dollar question. That's what My Christian Space really digs into. And they say it boils down to surrender. Our will to God's will. Our plans to his plans.
So not rules, but a changed heart.
Exactly. Inner transformation. Letting go of MY way. Trusting in what God's got planned. Which, let's be real, easier said than done.
Yeah. Look at Abraham. Dude was asked to do some seriously wild stuff. Stuff that probably seemed impossible.
Absolutely. That's where faith comes in, right?
Okay, so let's talk about faith.
Yeah.
We see Abraham's, sure. But how does that translate at Now W? What does it look like to really trust God like that, even when it seems impossible?
That's the question, isn't it? It really makes you think. And I think that's why this story still matters. After all this time, Abraham, he reminds us, faith, it's not about knowing everything. It's trusting God when you don't.
It's that whole leap of faith thing, right? Takes guts to jump when you can't even see the net. Just got to trust he'll catch you.
Exactly. And My Christian Space, they make a good point here. They say real faith, it usually has some doubt mixed in, questions, maybe even a little laughter, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if 99-year-old Abraham can laugh when God tells him he's going to be a dad, I think we're allowed to have questions sometimes, too.
100%. It's part of it. Faith isn't just blindly going along. It's talking to God, honestly, even when we're confused.
That actually makes me feel better, honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you got to have it all figured out, this perfect faith, but maybe it's okay to say, hey, God, I'm struggling here.
I think it's vital. That's what real faith is, being honest with God, where you're at, the hard questions, the doubts, all of it.
And maybe, just maybe, that's where things really change.
Yeah.
Not in the easy answers, but in the wrestling with it all.
Well said. You know, finishing up with Genesis 17 here, it really hits me how much we see about God. Just in this one chapter. His power, yeah, but also his heart. For us, he works through messy people like Abraham and Sarah.
Don't forget grace. He could have been like, seriously? Again? But no, he's compassionate, still guides them towards the good stuff, his promises.
It's beautiful, really. God's love, how faithful he is, never gives up on us.
We covered a lot today. Covenants, names, faith, even how this stuff connects to religions today. Mind-blowing how much is packed into one chapter.
Right. These aren't just old stories. They're full of truth that still matters, you know? Makes you look at your own life, your own faith.
Totally agree. And I got to say, My Christian Space brought a fresh take on this one. Really helped me see it differently.
They did a great job explaining the deeper stuff, how it all connects Old Testament to New Testament.
For sure. So, listeners, if you want to dig into Genesis 17 more, definitely check out My Christian Space. Great stuff there. But for now, think about this. What promise is God putting in front of you that seems impossible? And are you willing to go for it? Even with the doubts, the questions, all of it.
Big questions to chew on. Thanks for being here, everybody. Until next time, keep seeking, keep asking, and keep digging deeper into these stories. They really do shape everything.